So the GOP budget has finally been passed. Even with a majority in Congress, it took them this long to do it. So you would assume that would mean they had tons of time to make the bill even better. Well, it was just passed by a 216 to 212 vote, being voted against by every single Democrat and 20 Republicans, so I'll let that answer the question. Of course, many people had some trouble passing the budget, as seen by the fact that we went through about 7 of them. I'm just pulling that number out of thin air, but it feels like 7. As seen by the New York representative, Tom Reed, who said, "Now you're starting to see how difficult tax reform is. Tax reform, by the way, is code word for tax cuts, if you're rich enough to afford them." Reed also spoke on Republicans' efforts to repeal Obamacare, saying, "Healthcare was not kidding, he said so twice, political, and so that's 3 so's, hard." Yeah, healthcare is political, especially when, the majority of people support healthcare that's run by the government. But, okay. People were getting attacked from all over. They just thought, it can't be any worse. Well, yeah, people thought the pre-Obamacare American healthcare system was awful because it was. That's not what you're referring to, is it, Tom Reed? But when you go on to policy, and that's talking about money and impacts every American, now they're getting a sense of how complicated, how, not even an and after some of these, just after all of these, just how. So how extensive this effort is. But even President Donald Trump had to weigh into this, saying on Twitter, "Do not underestimate the unity," in all caps, "within the Republican Party." I mean, the Republican Party is so unified, as seen by people like Jeff Flake and John McCain. He just got the entire state of Arizona. He got both Republican senators in Arizona completely against him. That's unified right there. For the record, they still do vote with Trump a majority of the time. However, there is no however, actually. I don't know why I put however in that sentence. May have done a joke like, however, they still spoke out against him, but no. You vote with him almost all the time. You're not against him. Stop pretending you are Jeff Flake and John McCain. Now, the first thing you should know about this budget is the fiscal conservative Donald Trump, who wanted to completely get rid of the deficit, just released a budget plan that would add a total of $1.5 trillion to the existing federal deficit over the next 10 years. This is at a point where we're already at $20 trillion total in debt. So, best time to raise it even more, I guess. Now, the huge deficit will mainly be caused by the amount of tax cuts, as well as the lowering of the corporate tax rate from 35 to 20%. And while they are trying to argue that economic growth will take care of it, I'd like to remind you, it didn't under Coolidge, Reagan, or Bush. This plan would also highly cut Medicare and Medicaid, as they are the 2 most popular government programs right now, as well as the closest thing to single payer we have. I would like to remind you all that, they are far more popular than actual private health insurance companies. So it's almost like they don't like single payer, which, by the way, to any Republican representative, if you have such an issue with government health care, well, then get rid of yours. You as a congressman have it. And go get some free market health care if you love it so much. So that's a basic breakdown of the complete lunacy of this plan. And that's really it. I'm Ephrom, and good night.